Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to show you guys some 96 rookie refractors. I've been really excited about Finest for, I guess, I don't know, about the last 2 or 3 months. I've really been getting into it. I decided to try to do a draft run, and there's a couple guys I'm still looking for. I do still need the Steve Nash, and I'm looking at Ray Allen right now. But I'm doing a draft run with the Finest, the bronze refractors. But I want to show off a couple other cards tonight that are have become my by far my favorite 96 refractors. Um, but before I get into that, let's just kind of look at some of these back here. Uh, this is the first time I've ever purchased a GMA graded card. Look at that. It's a Marcus Camby, and I don't know, man. I think I paid $10 plus $4 shipping for this. And this is just, I mean, it's like for the price of what other cards are going for out there, uh, I don't even want to break it out of the GMA slab, and I definitely don't want to take the time to send it somewhere else. But that's just, look at that. That's a sweet looking card. And I don't know, man, this GMA kind of hits hard. Uh, they even have a, a, I've never even tried to look it up, but I guess you can scan these babies. Um, Again, this is not something I would be regularly doing, um, but that's a sweet card for $14 in total to add to the little 96 run. Uh, Here's another one. This guy, I remember I played fantasy basketball way back when this was before uh, they had anything digitized. So when you first started playing fantasy basketball and fantasy football, you had to pick your teams, you put your starters in, and then somebody, whoever was the commissioner of the league, they actually had to get the newspaper the next day. This is before the internet was really a thing either. So they would get the printout in the newspaper, and they'd have to go through and just by hand do all the scores for the games that night and add them all up. I remember having Sharif Abdur-Rahim on my team, and this guy was a baller. He actually was a great guy to have on your fantasy team back then. But yeah, this is just a sweet card, and when the light hits it just right. The thing with these Finest refractors is that there's the purist in me really wants to get the cards that have the coating on them already, or still, the coating is still intact. That being said, they look so much better and so much more clean when the coating is off of them. So I can understand why some guys prefer one and some prefer the other. For me, if I'm gonna, go between the two, I want the coating because to me that's more of the original state. But it's almost like you would rather have both. You'd rather have, one to keep it as original as possible, and then another one to show it off because they do look way, way better when they have the coating off of them. Uh, and then this guy was probably my third favorite player from the 96 draft behind Kobe and Iverson. This is Marbury, and this one still has the coating on it. But just a sweet card. It's an 8. I bought a raw one too that I'm thinking about maybe sending off and getting graded. Uh, Marbury was awesome. He was I believe he was from New York. I think he was from Queens actually. Um, and he was a baller. He didn't have, a lot of the team. He didn't have championships. He didn't have a lot of great team success in his years. But that happens when you play for the Timberwolves, the Knicks. But yeah, these cards are awesome. You don't know what how history will treat Marbury. But I think his cards are awesome, and if you're from the 90s, you definitely know who he is. This is becoming probably one of my most favorite cards in my PC. This is the Iverson. And yeah, I bought this. It's just such a good looking card, just awesome centering, very clean. Whoever's had it took care of the case. You know, I love when people take care of their cases and the cases aren't all scratched up. And but these are just such cool cards. Iverson obviously was a cultural, had a huge cultural impact on not just basketball, but he was a hip hop guy. There was always a little bit of kind of controversy around him. I think if he lived today, or he played today, obviously he's still alive. If he played today, it probably wouldn't be as big of a deal. You know, kind of what his off the court stuff. Maybe it would, I don't know. But I love this card, and it's just a super clean copy of it in a 9. The colors, as you can see, are awesome. I love that these are really starting to gain steam again, and people are kind of seeing them for what they are, which is, to me, is classic cards. And then, yeah, before we get to these other last two here, I want to keep this under 10 minutes. We're at 6:38. And then here's the Kobe. This is a BGS 8. When I got this, right before I bought it, I looked up when it was graded. It was graded in 2002. So, you know, it's been 19 years since they graded this card. I am very, very seriously considering cracking this and sending it into PSA. And I may just cross it over because I would be totally fine with an 8 on a card that is just this clean and nice. But I may crack it and see, who knows, it could do better. I'll put that back. But for the kind of the main event tonight, I want to show off these two cards that are definitely in my 96 refractors. These are by far my two favorite cards. These cards are very, very difficult to take good pictures of that show what the refractor does when light hits it. So most guys that have these, they almost always say it looks better in hand than it does on photos. Photos can't pick up all the different ways that the light hits these and how cool they look. There's something about these golds that is just, they just kind of stand alone. So very, very cool cards. Obviously the Iverson, it's getting a lot more love lately. And then here's the Kobe. Every way you turn it, the card looks different. And the way that the light refracts on it, it just does a lot of crazy stuff. So this card is obviously a lot more rare than the Topps Chrome Refractor. The Topps Chrome Refractor is probably, up until this point, has been considered a little bit more iconic of a card. And I totally would understand why. He's got love in a lot of different cards. Obviously, the Chrome Refractor has kind of traditionally been his most iconic, and we see that in the prices. But when I hold this up next to a Chrome, to me, there's just no comparison. This card just blows it out of the water, in my opinion. I obviously know what the Chrome Refractor is, and nothing but love for it. And you know, who knows? I may end up getting another one here in the near future. That said, I think this card is by far of his refractor rookies the most beautiful. It's a work of art, and I haven't seen any technology like this come out again. Look at that. Look how crazy that is. Pretty wild, all this stuff it does, but super, super cool card. And yeah, I'm just pleased to be able to have it. It's one of those that it doesn't have the coating on, so in person it looks awesome, but Obviously, there's the desire also to have that one that's got the coating. They're just becoming so hard to find. But I think along with a lot of other people, look at that. That's just wild. I got my eyes peeled and you know, kind of always looking for them, and if they pop up. Super cool cards. Again, I wanted to just keep this short tonight, show off some of these. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and maybe you're inspired to do a 96 draft run. But yeah, very excited to have this card and the other ones. Just super cool. Put them together.
Victory Investments. I buy what I like. I buy what I like. I ain't gonna follow the trends of the night. I buy what I like. I buy what I like.